gentlemen, podcasting since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio with your hosts, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Peña, the always opinionated Paris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
And welcome to Gamertag Radio, episode 1263. This is your host, Danny Peña, and joining me for this episode, we have Pete in the house, all the way from Europe. What's up, Pete?
What's up, dude? How are you doing?
Everything is good, man. Here, represent LWO. Nice. Was watching WWE Backlash last night. It was pretty dope. I know you're not into wrestling, but I just want to say that very quick. And yeah, it's been great, man. Been really, really good, man. Just been very busy, by the way. Booking a lot of cool stuff for Summer Game Fest. And I'm gonna have more information about that in the future. I can't say anything just yet, but I'm excited for the stuff that's coming up for GTR. I think people are gonna like the content that we're planning to release next month. So, are you excited to watch Summer Game Fest? Or all these announcements and all this stuff, or no?
I mean, it's kind of hard not to.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's only fair that you be excited if you're in this industry, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, even with the drama over the last, few weeks, or even first quarter of this year, the first 5 months of this year, it's still been a pretty decent year for gaming. I know me personally, I tried to hype it up at the beginning of this year with the potential that, hey, this could be that 2007, 1998 competition for how well of a gaming year this could be, right? And there's still some opportunities there for it to be. We've got upcoming games in next month. Actually, no, just in 2 weeks, in a week.
Diablo, Zelda this week. Well,
exactly. And I was actually trending more towards the Legend of Zelda, right?
Yeah.
This coming weekend, yes, it's the Diablo 4 summer or server slam in preparation for the launch in June. Obviously we've got Starfield coming out later this year, Spider-Man 2 coming out the week before that, and so many other games that are potentially on the list or even coming in for 2024. So it's the opportunity is there for having a really good, strong year. Obviously it's still yet to be seen. So fingers crossed. Got some good stuff coming up.
Yeah. Stay tuned. I'm planning to talk about Zelda once I start playing it, because I always get codes from Nintendo later after the game releases. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully, fingers crossed, get that this week, and we can review it in the future and everything. I'm excited for that, and I'm excited for Diablo 4. I think that game is going to be amazing. I can't wait to play with the community. Oh, by the way, so shout out to Paris. Paris is not going to be joining us on this episode, but hopefully in the future he will join us. It's been a very exhausting week, and we're going to be talking about that because we have a lot of questions about the same topic, kind of, and we'll play it here and talk about it in a few minutes. But yeah, so shout out to Paris. I know he did a great job with that S-Cast interview with Phil. That was a great interview. Props to him. Props to Mike, Gary, the whole kind of funny crew over there, man. It was a lot of fun. And that's about it. So, before we go to the next topic and all this stuff, so I noticed there's this new feature now on Spotify. This is for only people that listen to the podcast through that app. There's a feature where you could interact while listening to this episode or any other episode of Gamertag Radio through the Spotify app. I could start posting polls in there. You could post comments, questions from there too. Like every time you listen to an episode, you go click the episode while you're listening, and then in there you could do like some stuff like interact with us and everything. So I will get the notification. I'll read it and I'll post it here.
Really?
Yeah, on the show. So what I'm gonna do for this episode, I'm gonna post a poll for those that listen to us through Spotify. And the question is, and make sure this episode is live before you go there and everything to answer this poll. Let us know if you're planning to get Zelda for the Switch for this week, Friday. So every week we're gonna have a new question. And you could also post comments in there, and it's pretty cool. I think that's awesome because there's people that don't come and watch this here on Twitch. They only listen to us with Spotify, so they can interact with us with there. So it's pretty cool. Shout out to Spotify for adding that new feature. It's pretty cool. All right, so head over to gamertagradio.com. Listen to our past episodes. Also, you can find us on any podcast app. All you have to do is just search for Gamertag Radio. We're there. Subscribe, follow us, and also, more importantly, post a review. That will help us out big time. Also, if you'd like to be part of our family discussion, like the one that we're going to have this episode, here's how you could contact us.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right, so Pete, we have voicemails, we have questions, via email, and I think one from Discord. You're the DJ, man. You're the host. You're the person controlling everything. Which one you want to start off first? I personally, I have a couple there that I'm really excited to answer.
Why do you ask me which one I want, and then you don't? It's like you don't care. I'm just here's what I want to hear.
I'm just saying that I'm excited to answer these questions. That's it. I'm excited.
All right. I mean, let's flip flop, right? We'll go one written, one audio, one written, one audio. We'll flip flop like that, right?
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Okay.
4. I think we've got 3 written.
3. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 written, 4 audio. So yeah, whatever. We'll do it in that fashion.
All right. So you want to start, or you want me to start?
Yeah. I'll start off with the first one. All right. The first one is from fan mails from Versh.
Mm-hmm.
Greetings, Gamertag Radio. Now that Redfall has been released, Xbox's remaining first-party titles for the rest of the year are Starfield and Forza Motorsport.
Mm-hmm.
With the Xbox Showcase now more than a month away, what games do you guys think will be highlighted for 2024 and beyond? What games do you guys want updated release windows or dates? Do you guys think that the Xbox Showcase will present the next 12 months format again? Thanks, and love what you guys do.
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. First of all, thank you. And P, I forgot to do the intro. And it's time for fan mail.
Fan mail at gamertagradio.com.
Just want to do that real quick. No, but honestly, honestly, it's hard because I know they're gonna. I know Xbox is gonna show us stuff, right? But we don't know what it is exactly they're gonna show us. Are they gonna show us games that was presented years back, and we finally gonna see, official dates, gameplay? Okay, that's one of the things that I like about last year. Even though the part that I really didn't like, because they haven't really been shipping out there, is the check out the games that's coming up for the next 12 months, and we're still waiting. So besides that, I really enjoy when Xbox show gameplay, because that was one of the things that people were requesting a lot. Show us gameplay instead of just showing us, CGI trailers and every single time, and that's it, right? Another thing that I don't like, and I've been saying this for years, I don't care who does it, is I don't like when a company show a game and it's been 4 or 5 years and there's like no updates. I just not a fan of that. I prefer to see games that's coming out within the year, maybe 2 years max. That's it. But yeah, besides that, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna show us, man. Is Xbox gonna show us, Fable, or are they gonna show us what's another game that Avowed? That's another one that people have been waiting for. Are we gonna see that? I've been waiting for Hellblade too. I mean, Xbox has been showing us a lot throughout the past couple of years, right? Of that game. I think the last time we got to see that was during the Game Awards, not last year, the year before, something like that. So yeah, I'm very curious. What about you, Pete? You think we're gonna see anything big from Xbox during that time, or what?
Confirmation, because I'm not 100% certain. Minecraft Legends is this year, correct?
It just came up, Pete. Wow. Have you?
It
just came out a couple weeks
ago. Just double check.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from Starfield and Forza Motorsport, one of the games that I talked about in that original list I think it was our most anticipated games of 2023 episode. Warhammer 40,000 Bolt Gun. It's actually coming out later this month, May 23rd. It's a retro-inspired FPS set within the Warhammer universe, right? So don't expect amazing graphics. It's going to be more retro-inspired. Think of it kind of like an old-school Doom / Unreal experience. That is one of the games that I'm looking forward to. Kind of slightly in the same vein as like Replaced, which I think there's still not a target date for release, but it is an anticipated title that we're all looking forward to, right? There's Arc 2, Avowed. I think you mentioned Fable, which we still don't have a target. I mean, and a lot of these things, you know, we're honestly clueless at the end of the day. We don't really know. Everwild, Outer Worlds 2. I know that's another one. I know that's one that you're really expecting. I'm still convinced we're not going to see Hellblade 2 until 2024, right? I think, especially now after Phil's interview, I think they're really they're gonna put an onus now on making sure games launch correctly, right? They did announce, what was it, just last year, that they're switching to UE5. That is going to take time, right? That's a brand new engine. Considering they were on UE4 before, flipping to a new engine is not as simple as copy pasting the code with an expectation that it's going to work, right? Team has to learn how to use it. They've got to learn how to leverage the tool set within it. We saw, we spoke about the new UE5 demo just a few weeks ago, and it looks amazing. It's a really, really strong engine for game development, but you have to you can't just expect it to work, right? You have to learn you have to learn its impacts on the rest of the development cycle, how long things are going to take. You can't take that. You can't just assume that it's going to work. Obviously, we know Stalker 2 was delayed. State of Decay 3 is also coming out. So if 2023 doesn't become that super strong year for games, 2024 definitely could be. And it almost seems like us as gamers, we say this every year that, this year is going to be the best year in gaming. But that is a really strong inventory or catalog of games coming over the next 12 to 18 months. Now, again, we don't know if any of those that I just ran through are going to come out next year. Those are all assumptions. There's games that, like Alan Wake 2.
That's my most anticipated game for me this year. No other game tops that for me. I can't wait.
There's other games. Hollow Knight Silksong. That's one game that I was extremely looking forward to.
Sure. We
think it might come out 2023. There's no target date. I'm assuming that's going to be one that we see on the Summer Games thing, like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Right. Skim 2023 is kind of like Frogger, but you can only move within the shadows of the game. It's an indie game. Not expecting it to be, to blow down houses or anything, but it's another game. Wolf Among Us 2. We know that it's coming out. When, we don't know. It could be this year. It could be next year. Again, we don't know. And there's so many other games that are coming up. But from a Microsoft perspective, the ones that I mentioned, Replace, Senua Saga, Stalker 2.
Replace. Oh, that game is so good.
I'm telling you, there's a strong catalog of games coming up. So, whether any of those are what you would consider next gen, could they be, released on Xbox, Series X, or could they be Series S strong titles? It's hard to say without having touched hands on those, but there's a good opportunity. I think we're trending in the right direction.
All right. Let's go with the first voicemail, Pete. I think that'll be good to start this conversation. I have a lot to say about this, but go ahead.
Oh boy, here we go.
Get prepared.
Hey guys, this is Johnny6502. Just wanted to ask you guys about Redfall. Peter mentioned that something that got me thinking and was a really good point. He mentioned that when you guys were previewing the game, you only played solo, even though foundationally this is a co-op game. So it feels like a lot of the stuff that we've been shown so far has been very heavily curated and might be considered misleading even. even with the 60 FPS PC footage. So my question is, how confident are you guys that Redfall will be good at launch? For me personally, I thought that it would be good based on what we were shown, but knowing everything that's come out, recently, I'm not so sure. I don't think it will be good anymore at launch. Anyways, love to hear what you guys think. Love the show. Thanks.
That was not the email, the voicemail, but go ahead. I'll answer this if you want.
That was voicemail 1. That was voicemail 1. I know. I'm going in numerical
order.
All good.
It's all good. This is good. It's all good. We're doing this live. So he sent that couple days before the launch of Redfall, and that we'll talk about it right now about the whole mess about Redfall and everything. So, when we got to play the game. And this usually happens, not all the time, but when we go to an event and we get to play a game, and I'll also bring up Star Wars Jedi Survivor because it's something very similar to what happened to that one. So sometimes companies will create a demo just for the event. So for example, Jedi Survivor, the demo that we played at the pre-event, it was actually a 4-hour demo. It was prepared for that, right? There was no frame rate issues. There was no crashes for me. It was different than how it is the full game once we got out. Once the game came out, right? So once the game came out for the PC, it was a totally different story, right? So now with Redfall, I'm not gonna lie, I had a good time at the event. My wife had a good time playing in Paris. Everybody was there, like, oh, this game has potential. We'll see. Here's what the things that I didn't like once the game came out was I'm playing the game and there's certain quests that because of the bug, it didn't allow me to continue with the game. There was other stuff that was just annoying. Like if I'm going to, I check out the map from the game and I'm trying to go to like a different location and I mark the location I have to go, right? When I mark it, the icon will go even further, like at a different location, and it's not exactly there. Like there was like a lot of bugs that basically kill the whole experience and everything. And we didn't experience that during the preview event. You get what I'm saying? So when I see people grabbing audio clips of like our preview, right? And saying, you see, like at that moment, we were having fun. It's not being like changing our opinions because we got invited to an event. It's never been like that for us, man. You know what I'm saying? Like if there's something that we don't like, we'll say it straight up. Like, yo, this game is, I don't know. So I just wanted to say that because I've been noticing that people been bringing that up and everything. And look, there was other people that went to the event and they felt the same way. Like, oh, this game has potential. There's nothing wrong with that. My opinion completely changed once I got an early code of the game. And I think, Pete, you had the same experience. I think maybe even worse when you got the game too, right? For the PC a couple of weeks back of Redfall, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I had a technical glitch that did impact that first 2 days of playing. And, I did work with Bethesda support to resolve it. And it definitely doesn't help when you send out a game, right? In general,
sure.
And the experience is, I guess you could say, tainted
sure.
because of this. Now, the gameplay itself is a different situation. And it doesn't help that it was, I hate to like blast developers because they at the end of the day, they did their best with what they had, with the tools that they had.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, the game that we were expecting and the game that we got, I think were two totally different things. I think the expectation may have overshadowed or overhyped the actual game that we got.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like towards what Phil was saying as well, right? Is like they expected a much better reaction to the game than what actually came out.
Sure.
And that's fair at the end of the day, right? That's fair, right? There's no crystal ball that says that, look, hey, this game is going to be fantastic, because if that was the case, every single game would be fantastic and everybody would be happy.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case. And at the end of the day, did it salt my personal opinion or expectation of the game? It did, because I was going in, and I mean, from the day that they announced this game the first time, you know, I was on board, because I was like, this looks like something that I would enjoy. I am a fan of like the Left 4 Dead type experience. I love the vampire genre, obviously Vampire Hunters, etc. Over the last few years, it getting a little bit more, you know, a little bit more play in our eyes or on socials, etc. So yeah, the expectation was there, the hype was there, but unfortunately, it fell flat on its face because it did not deliver what we were expecting. Whether that be a technical thing, whether it was code related, whether it was something that wasn't caught in QA, which is what I experienced. Right? I launched the game and it was immediately in TTS. So every single place that my mouse went or my character went, I had an automated voice replaying what was going on. So character expressions, anything narrative in the game was literally, it was kind of like being on this show with you talking over everybody, right? And you it's all good. But it absolutely tainted it, and unfortunately there was nothing I could do with, until I was able to finally uninstall. I had to use a third-party uninstaller, Revo uninstaller, which I've used in the past, but I had to do that to totally wipe all instances of the game in my PC and then reinstall it. Fingers crossed. But I had lost 2 days. I tried to go back in with an open mind and an unbiased mentality. But by that time, the reviews had come out. I tried putting time, effort into the game, and it just wasn't there. Now, was that a part of it? I'd probably say it wasn't 100% of it, but it definitely tainted my personal experience of the game.
Yeah.
And that's just a byproduct, right? And so what is the best way to fix that, right? QA, making sure that, making sure that you've got enough people QAing the product, quality assurance, were they able to properly QA that? Who knows?
We don't know. We don't know the behind the scenes.
We don't know. Yeah. We do know that with consoles, it's much easier to QA than it is for PC, because you're not dealing or trying to account for the hundreds of thousands of hardware combinations of different motherboards, different RAM, different GPUs, case cooling, different, essentially every component, different memory. You're not trying to solve for all of those variables, because with a piece with whether it's PlayStation or Xbox or Switch or whatever, anything console based, it's one single hardware configuration, right? That you have to solve for. So it's much easier to accommodate for those. I don't know if there's something in my build that automatically triggered that. And unless somebody goes out, the PC part picker, and identifies my exact computer build, there's no way to know that, this is the build that's going to trigger that. But at the end of the day, it goes to quality assurance, making sure that your gameplay experience is not tainted. You're not sipping at your own Kool-Aid, right? You're not. I think it's something that just maybe this is that trigger moment for those in the gaming industry that finally understands that QA isn't just a throwaway piece to the development cycle, or it's just like, oh, we're just going to give them something to do. It's a quantitative, component of game development. It shows how important it is, because if you had those in power, I want to say the stakeholders on the game, actually listening to and not just believing, oh, because it's an Arcane game, they can't, their studio does no wrong, this game is going to be amazing. Had they paid attention to QA, or and obviously we're not going to know that because we don't work at Arcane. But had there been a better focus on it, I don't know or don't think that it would have released in this condition.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they did. I think it's in general cool to maybe we need to just now focus more on QA, give it more time to bake. Maybe a 2 to 3 year development window isn't the right way to go. Who knows? Maybe it is a 10-year development window that we're going to see in Starfield come September, which is what Bethesda's doing. So fingers crossed. We can't know everything, but we do know that this is next. This is what happens when you don't support the rest of your team. Maybe they needed more developers. Maybe they needed more training on the applications. Who knows? But this game wasn't it, right? It fell on its face.
Yeah. Let's go. So the same person called again a week or two later for this voicemail. So we're gonna play that voicemail number 3 because I think that was supposed to be voicemail 1, but I messed up.
Oh. Okay, so we'll go voicemail 3.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Go for it
and play.
Yeah.
Hey guys, great interview, Paris. I have to give Phil props for not canceling, like Greg mentioned. He easily could have just not done it, and it would probably have been a better thing if he had canceled, because I thought that interview went horribly for him and looked very badly for him and for Xbox. I'm not sure if you guys have seen Benji Sales' video. It's worth watching for sure, which pushed back on what Phil was saying about great games not mattering. Between your interview and Benji's video, I've lost a lot of trust and confidence in Phil and Xbox. Before I gave them the benefit of the doubt, because it seemed like Phil was making the right moves and decisions, but I no longer trust Phil anymore. The answers that he gave, a lot of it felt disingenuous to me in that interview. So I'm wondering what you guys think. Do you still believe that Xbox and Phil are the right people to turn the ship around and get Xbox into a better place? All right, thank you.
Yeah. Have a lot to say about this. You want me? Is it okay, Pete? I can go
ahead.
All right,
No,
all right.
go for it. Go for it.
So here's the thing. And first of all, thank you so much for calling us, because I love when our listener call us, even if we don't agree, disagree, whatever. Like when we agree, disagree, I love getting the engagement like this, like people calling in and everything. So thank you so much. I appreciate that so much, man. Here's the thing, man. Every company has been through this bump. Like, Nintendo had a hard time with the Wii U back then, right? And they came back hard. PlayStation had a really rough time in the beginning during the launch of PlayStation 3, and they came back towards the end, and now they're in a really good path since PlayStation 4. Xbox went through hell during the 360 when the Red Ring of Death happened, right? But it helped to continue the sales, and not that great during the Xbox One launch and everything like that. And they've been doing great, I think, towards the end of Xbox One and the beginning of this one that went on now. So that's one thing. People are gonna have different opinions, and that's fine. Like I think I still think that Phil and the team are doing a great job with a lot of things. I think right now it's just back-to-back bumps, man. It's not only with everything that happened in Redfall, but a lot of people was praising when the Xbox Direct happened this year, which was like a great video presentation, everything like that, right, for the fans, right? Also, Hi-Fi Rush, still to this day, I think has potential to be contender of the Game of the Year with other games that's coming out this year, So it's just, I would like to see more of that from Xbox, and I hopefully the conversation would change once the showcase happens next month, and then hopefully when all these games get shipped, hopefully we have that different conversation about it, man. You know what I'm saying? So companies are never gonna be perfect, man. Like for me, I enjoy the PlayStation VR 2 from PlayStation. A lot of people don't. People feel like it's too expensive. I think it's a lot better than the previous one, and PlayStation's going to figure it out. They're going to figure out either by changing the price or by releasing great software that's going to get people to buy, right? So I think it's good to give feedback to the companies, man, no matter what, even if you don't like the company or not, man. Here's the thing that I don't like. I don't like when you see grown-ass men online going back and forth doing the whole fanboy BS. And tell me, how's that gonna help the gaming industry when you are online with this console war BS? That is the part I'm like, how's that helping? That's not helping at all, man. I think gaming supposed to be for us to have a great time. It's okay to have disagreements and debates and like, right? But when people take this to the level of like that fanboy BS, that's not helping at all, man. Just a few hours ago, I read a tweet from Tony. Shout out to Tony Polanco. You remember those days, Pete, when you just wake up and the first thing you would do is just play a game, not even thinking about none of that nonsense. You just want to play that game when you wake up, man, as a kid, right? That was me.
I think back in those days, we didn't have a choice, right? It's not like today where we've got the instant connectivity of the world.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing that I love about gaming, man. I love that, man. But when you have people that are just doing this nonsense, fanboy-ish, grabbing, and I'm gonna say straight to the camera, grabbing clips of previews and saying all this nonsense of like shill and this and this and that, like what is it you guys are getting out of that all that stuff, man? Like, is it because you want companies to fail? Do you want content creators to fail because there's nothing really stuff happening in your life that you want other people to fail too? Like, that's what it is. Hating other content creators and hating other companies over nonsense is not helping the gaming industry at all. It's not helping the community at all. Like, I don't get this, man. I don't get this. I don't got the time to be going back and forth online. I don't got the time for that, man. Like, I have a lot of personal stuff going on, man. Like, good things, not bad, good things. That I'd rather focus on that. I'd rather enjoy creating content, enjoy interacting with our community. You know what I'm saying? And for me to just play games, man. Yo, that's what gaming is all about. Gaming is not about attacking others because they have a different taste of games. Like, who cares, man? It's exhausting. It's exhausting. Like, I'm seeing people having different opinions and attacking others ever since that Phil interview went live last week. Kind of funny, I think it was good for Phil to be honest, and because that's not that many people on his level to actually have a serious conversation on what's going on with the company. I see that as a good thing, I haven't seen that with Jim Ryan, right? I haven't seen that with Doug Bowser. I haven't seen that at all from them. So I appreciate, even though the interview wasn't perfect, I think that was good for Phil to have that conversation with everybody, man. I think that's great. I think that's really, really good for the gaming industry, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the future is going to be bright. I still believe on the stuff that Xbox is going to do in the future. And I can't wait to see and play these games, man. Yo, I've been playing games from Xbox games from the beginning. I'm talking about like 2001. And I didn't like where the company was going when Don Matrick was in charge. And guess what? He didn't want to talk with no one unless you were like CNN or like a major media outlet. He didn't want to talk to any community site. And guess what? Phil been on our show twice. They invited us to be on, and we're not a millions of followers or anything. He wanted to talk to us because we are just a fan of games, and we have great conversation with him, man. And I'm thankful that they gave us the opportunity, and I'm glad to see that SCAS get that opportunity too. You know, I think that's good. There's nothing wrong with that, man. Are people going to agree with the things that he said? That's a different toilet conversation, man. But just having that conversation, Pete, I think that's very, very important to have, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry for the rant. Sorry that I'm going all out, but it is frustrating, yo. Frustrating when I get to see all this nonsense. Like, yo, the best advice I'll tell other people, that 24/7 posting nonsense online, and even, I'm not gonna say anything, but just that, yo, go outside and touch the freaking grass, yo. Seriously, it's exhausting seeing this, man. You know, hey, look, from now on, this is the things that I've been doing, Pete, and I haven't really publicly been saying this. I just been blocking people, yo, blocking trolls that all they want to do is this. I just block and move on, yo. So this will be the last time I will bring this up online here on the show, because I really don't have the time to be, you know, doing this nonsense, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a grown ass man, yo. I'm not a kid. You know what I'm saying? Console wars is nonsense, yo. That's not helping. That's not helping at all. So yeah, that's it. That's my rant. I just want to say that real quick. Pete, go ahead. You want to answer whatever you want? Go ahead. Yeah, sorry. I had to say something. I was holding that for a week.
To answer your question directly.
Yes.
Is Phil the right person? Not yours, the callers.
Sure.
Is Phil and his team the right person to turn the ship around?
Mm-hmm.
When you take into consideration where they were, where Xbox was 5-6 years ago,
I think it's fantastic, right?
I think. Well, let me answer this.
God damn it!
Where they are now in comparison to where they were 5 or 6 years ago, in the days of Don Matrick, etc., and Connect is horrible and broken, which I disagree with.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a great component.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to please everyone. You're not going to make everyone happy. There's going to be detractors in anything and everything that you experience or appreciate, right? Whether it's something as unimportant as a piece of plastic or where you play your video games, to other things, and we'll talk about this. And there's another question that kind of has in the same itch for me.
Mm-hmm.
But is Phil the right person to turn the ship around? He was 5 or 6 years ago. Is he ultimately fully responsible for the product or products that we have seen this last generation? At the end of the day, yes, it does fall on him because he is head of Xbox. That's exactly what that title denounces, right? Or not denounces. It's exactly what that title that he has been bestowed. You know, it's his responsibility. It falls on his shoulders ultimately. As far as he the right person to turn around the ship, he's done it before, and I don't see why he can't do it again. But I do say that if, you know, and that's, you know, all things withstanding, you know, Game Pass has been amazing for Microsoft. The acquisitions of all these studios coming up, that all falls under his responsibility. So yes, the launch of a poor title such as this does start to make it trend towards the negative with Phil, but he still has other games and other things. And I'd probably say he's maybe a 2-year window because that's when a lot of these things that he is ultimately responsible for now start to come out. And if those games come out well, a perfect example, Starfield in September. Starfield comes out and is a blockbuster as is being touted and expected and under the impression for everybody right now. If it is as good as everybody says it is, this conversation that we're having goes quietly into the drawer right here, and somebody's going to close that drawer and it goes away. Right? And that's an if. We don't know what's going to happen. If Alan Wake comes out, or Alan Wake 2 comes out, blows the doors off of everything that we've expected, we're not having this conversation, right? If Hollow Knight, Forza Motorsport 8, Wolf Among Us, Warhammer 40K, all these other Xbox exclusives come out, we're not having this conversation. So right now, yes, because of the recent news of Redfall's poor launch and the experiences of a lot of people, yes, right now it's trending and it's popular to on Phil Spencer because it's ultimately his responsibility. But and it's kind of counter to what you were saying, Danny. I don't think his concern is the platform war and the biases.
No. Sorry, I just had to rant.
I know you wanted to get it off your chest, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me as much. People are going to stand for what they do, right? I stand for Mercedes, and we're doing poorly in F1 the last 2 years. But you know what? That's not going to make me go out and say, oh, well, Alpine is horrible or Aston Martin is horrible. I do hate Red Bull, but that's a different story and altogether. Yeah. But they're doing amazing this year in F1. So, kudos to them for doing it right. But right now, the eyes are on Microsoft because they have trended in a bad direction over the last 5-10 years, right? Whether it was, Xbox Series S or Xbox Series One, whatever.
Sorry, because the chat.
No,
you did say you did, Pete.
No, I said Alpine. No, I said Alpine is good.
You say penis.
No, I didn't. Alpine. That's how you pronounce the racing car.
I know. It sounded. Sorry.
So look, y'all with your Rihanna, get your mind out the gutter. Okay, I did not say penis. Good God. Hey, made me lose track. Next
all right. Alpine is I know he's, but it sounded. It sounded that. It's all good.
Rihanna, get your head out the gutter. Go back to bed.
Look, man, I just want us to have fun, bro. I want us to have fun.
At the end, I agree. And that's at the end of the day, that's why we all play games, because it takes us away from the doldrums of day-to-day life. Yeah. It takes us away from having to go to, going to work and dealing with a bad boss or whatever. But
yeah,
I agree with you, Danny, in that we need to stop letting video games dictate our personal lives and our personal experiences and how we enjoy life. I don't go on vacation with my wife and think about the hardware console platform war, right? Unlike some people. Okay. You know who you are. And I'm saying your first initial, but I'm going to leave it at that. Right. But we need to stop letting these plastic preferences dictate our personal lives and our enjoyment of this beautiful world and this love and this enjoyment that we have. Look, we don't have we've all got our biases and you see some of it on social media, and we all give each other enough, flack on the internet, but there's still love here.
Of course.
I don't care what other people say. I think I've grown up to that point where I may say some salacious stuff on the internet every once in a while, or maybe even on this podcast. But at the end of the day, we're all adults. We're all having fun. This is video games. Are we really letting video games dictate our enjoyment of our life? We're only here for X period of time. We're only here for a finite period of time. Why allow something as trivial as video games to ruin it? All I'm going to say, let's move on. Let's just have fun. Let's just play video games. Let's have coffee, water, whiskey, scotch, beer, whatever it is. Have fun, man.
Yeah. Touch grass. All right. So let me read, oh wait, do we have a, do you want to play another voicemail? I like voicemails. Voicemails is good. Let's go with another bit.
Yeah, we can do another voicemail. Yeah. We'll do voicemail two, okay, so that you know where we're at in this thing, okay? Okay. Voicemail 2. Here we go.
Hey, this is James from Portland calling again. I had a couple of things I want to talk about. When are we going to see the family deal for the Family Pass for Game Pass? This has been entirely way too long. those other folks had it. They've had it for a while. They're doing the trial. It's about time, man. A lot of folks, I bet, have been paying for multiple people in their family to have the Game Pass in order to have all that access, and it's starting to really rack up. I was hoping by this last holiday season that we would have had it by now, but it's damn near summer, and we haven't seen it yet. So, wanted to see if I could get your guys' take on that. See if you guys had heard anything about that. Thank you.
All right, thanks for calling. Appreciate that. So, I mean, it is questionable, right? Like it was out in only 2 countries. Was it Ireland and Colombia and available for 4 people. I know they've recently expanded to Chile, Hungary, Israel, New Zealand, South Africa, and Sweden, and now have expanded it to 6 players. But I agree with him. It does.
Oh, yeah.
I do agree with him, though. I mean, why limit this if they're trying to make Game Pass such an integral part of their core service delivery? Mm-hmm. Why is the delivery of this great service for the family aspect of it? Why is it such? Why has it been so slow, in your opinion?
I think this is more of a testing phase. This happening in these other countries. I think in the past we have seen that this is during the 360 days where Canada will get certain things and the US comes out like months later, right? I think based on this test, and this is, again, I don't know anything. This is just me guessing. Maybe during the showcase happening now in June, we probably will see that announcement that it's going to be available for everyone. So I personally think we might be seeing that very, very soon. I think this has been going around like being tested since like last year, I think it was, right? And I know recently there is this thing where you could also invite a couple friends for them to try out Game Pass for I think for like a month or so, or a couple. Oh no, actually for like a week or 2. So you could do that online right now. So yeah, my prediction, showcase of this year, we probably see something. If not, I don't know when that's gonna come out. Besides that, so that's my guess. Fingers crossed. I think that would be great. That would be really, really good to see like a family pass thing. So that's cool.
No, it's true. I mean, this was in February where it did this expansion. Right?
Oh, it was in February? Okay. I thought it was last year.
Yeah, it was in February. Mm-hmm. Like they debuted the Friends and Family plan last year in Colombia and Ireland, but it's now it's been 3 months since that. We haven't heard a lot of news on it, and I'm curious. I mean, Caller had a very, very valid point.
Yeah.
Why has there been no sign of Xbox Game Pass Friends and Family coming to North America, the UK, or anywhere else, right? Like, it makes sense, especially in a household where they have more than 4 people in a household, right? 6 kind of makes it a little bit easier, but if you're trying to really sell this, hopefully this last test of and it kind of makes sense if you look at the expansion, right? You're going from just Ireland, Colombia, 2 small sections, to Chile, adding another country in South America, adding Hungary and Sweden in Europe, Israel in the Middle East, New Zealand, South Africa. You're adding a lot more. You're giving it more global expansion, but you're still keeping it quasi-regional because you want to test it. Now, and look, coming from IT, test 3 times, launch once, because you only have one chance to launch successfully. I understand it. I'm all for testing multiple times, but I think with and maybe this has to do with Azure launches, making sure they've got the right data centers in place and the right infrastructure. I think Europe is a strong contender to just launch it in a more, as opposed to just in Hungary and Sweden, but launch it in Europe in general, right? The infrastructure here is a lot better than, let's say, the United States. As strong as your guys' technology is, not everybody's got great broadband, internet to support that. So I would say the US does have some catching up to do with regards to that. And that may be why we haven't seen it come to North America in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's improving, but I don't think it's to the strength of where it needs to be for everybody.
All right, so I know we have another voicemail, and this is from B Gamer. Shout out to him. I know he's on in our chat. This is a little bit long, so Pete, if it's too long, you could.
You're asking me to do this in real time, though.
If it's too long, you could pause and we could just answer the question. Yeah, just say.
Right, so
just say.
3 minutes. B Gamer, this ain't your first time here, okay, man?
Yeah.
You know that we get mad after a minute and a half.
Yeah, it's too long, but.
So next time, we're going to give you a pass. This time.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go.
Hello, this is Brad from Buffalo. I wanted to send a message in about the recent discussion over Xbox. I feel that, while a lot of the criticism is fair, especially since Xbox has transitioned into making their games $70 for their AAA exclusive titles. At the same time, I do think a lot of people have just went kind of overboard. I mean, this is a year in which the Xbox brand had in a lot of people's opinions, a Game of the Year nominee with Hi-Fi Rush. So to see all that earlier this year and to see things instantly switch into, should Xbox still be around after the reviews for Redfall is pretty wild. I have to give a shout out to Paris. That interview he did was kind of funny with Phil Spencer. Was great. We need more JJ Reddicks in area, or I should say a topic that's filled with a bunch of Stephen A. Smiths that just want to give out hot takes about gaming and try to stroke the flames of just the emotions of gamers that see online. But one thing I wanted to say too was that a lot of people are wondering what Phil Spencer meant in terms of their third place. In terms of his third place comment, people want Xbox to go back to the Xbox 360 days in terms of just success and just being I guess you could say, the really hip console gaming brand. But even back then, during the Xbox 360 days, if you look at the third year of the 360 sales, the 360 was at 17 million. The PS5 right now in its third year is at 40 million. So even though, 360 was doing well during that time, PS5 right now is doing twice as well, if not a little bit higher than what the 360 did during the same time frame. So again, Phil was right in saying that Xbox can't overtake PlayStation within the console gaming space, which is why they have to go outside of that and try to bring in more gamers via the cloud and just other PC gaming forms and platforms that will bring more gamers into the Xbox ecosystem outside of just consoles alone. So Phil was right in saying that, and again, that's what makes Xbox different from the other two main gaming platforms, and they need to further their focus on that as well as bring gamers more games on a consistent basis that are good. If they just focus on that, then they'll be well. As of right now, Xbox Series is still a little bit higher than 360 in terms of overall units. So for the same time frame, i.e. the third year, but things can definitely be better because things have definitely slowed down this year in 2023. So that's all I wanted to say. Keep up the good work, and I'll talk to you.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah, he cut himself off. That wasn't me. All right. Way to go, Brad. You cut yourself off. I will say I do like the JJ Reddick comparison. I think it makes, and yeah, I agree with you. I can't stand Stephen A either. But I do agree. I think kind of goes towards what you were saying earlier, right? Is try to take the emotion out of the conversation, right? Because I think that's what a lot of people, regardless of the platform, regardless of the outlet, I don't want to put any of those on blast or say any of those. But I definitely agree. I think we need to start getting a little bit more analytical versus knee-jerk reaction. Yes, it helps, and I'm sure that's what sells media or clicks or views, etc. Is having that wild, crazy view that is just for the here and now. But I think we in our industry, because it's if you really think about it, is as an industry, right? As gaming, it's not as it's not as mature as whether it be sports or or news journalism, right? A lot of, it's, we're also a much younger demographic, right? Yeah. You and I are dinosaurs in this industry at the end of right. But I think we need to start being, I think in general, we need to be a little bit more analytical versus being emotional. And I think that would help with the maturity. Whether we can actually get to that or not is a different story or question altogether. But I think we all just in general in this industry could do well from being a little bit more analytical.
Yeah, and I think we spoke about this years ago, Pete. We did mention this multiple times on the podcast. It's not right now. It's not 100% all about the sales of the console, right? It's not about that anymore. From the Xbox point of view, now the business that they've been having is the company is more about how can we get new gamers that can't afford to buy the console, but at least they could pay a monthly fee to play our games through the cloud, either on their phones, on the TV, etc. Right? And I think that's been helpful. Like right now, anybody around the world could go and sign up, get an Xbox account to try out xCloud, and they could play Fortnite for free. They don't have to pay for anything. It just go and play it and see how the cloud is. I even did that when the update came out on my TV because I have Samsung. So not the most recent version, but the one before the most recent one, right? So in that one, I just got an update where I could go and play xCloud. So I played multiple games through there. I connected my controller and I was playing without the Xbox console. It was all through the cloud, and it was a great experience. It was fine. I played multiple games. I even tried out Fortnite. I even posted a video of that, man. So it's good to see that because, and even the Game Pass too, like that is gonna help a lot of the family and kids, parents, for them, instead of buying a game every few months, which costs $60 to even $70 nowadays, they just could play all these games, indie, AAA, through the service, either through there or through the cloud. And that's going to open up to see more new gamers to join just the gaming community overall. And I think that's been the business now for like the past couple of years. And I like that. I like seeing that. Back then, man, it was hard for us to buy every single game that was coming out during the Nintendo days, the NES days, and Super Nintendo and Genesis and all that stuff. It was so expensive back then, man. So expensive. I remember buying games, it was like $70, $80, even $90, man, during this Nintendo 64 days for me, And now we have that option where you can subscribe or just buy individually. Like we have more options. You get what I'm saying? So I think that's smart, and I would love to see that from other companies too, Nintendo, PlayStation, everybody to do the same thing, So I think it's a good thing. I don't see that as like a bad thing. So just want to say that. But yeah, B Gamer, make sure next time you call us, make that a shorter voice. even Google Voice are like, hey, it's a little bit long. Let's cut it off. You know what I'm saying? So just want to say that real quick. Anything else, Pete? I think we're good for this episode. Yeah. It's over an hour, by the way. We have a couple more questions, but it's over an hour already. So yeah. I had a great time, Pete. I think this was a pretty good episode, a fan mail edition, all fan mail questions.
So we only did one written fan mail.
You want to do another written? Pick one. You go. Pick one. We have like two more there. Pick one.
All right. I don't know who. I can't remember. Oh, actually, this was John Wiki from our Discord. Mm-hmm. He said, is there ever a scenario for developer or publisher to cut their losses on a game, release it so the dev team can move on to the next project versus spending 1 to 2 or even 3 years to fix a broken game? Or should games like Redfall get canned or released at a discount /free? If not, why should a team stick it through?
That's a great question.
So first, I'll answer the second half.
Sure.
of the question, then go to the first.
Mm-hmm.
No, you'll never likely ever see a game get discounted at launch or released for free. Remember, every game's got a budget from day one. So you're immediately going to see, or you're immediately going to need to start targeting that return on investment, ROI, right? This is where we start getting into that more analytical mind. That's what I hope I try to bring to this show, because I know you and Paris have that 24/7 video game mentality where I kind of bring the more financial business aspect to the conversation.
What the heck that's supposed to mean? That's supposed to mean.
It doesn't make how do I say this? Developers and publishers need to try to make some money back on their effort, right? Whether it's a 1, 2, 3, 5-year development cycle, they're always going to need to bring some kind of a return on investment to it, especially as they could be held liable by whether it be shareholders or investors into the organization or into the project itself. So you can't just, cut bait and just dump at the end of the day, hoping that, you'll make it up in a Steam sale or not or something, because at that point I think when you see games hit that summer sale or a Steam sale or that 30% off on whatever, that's when people are just, hoping to make the last little bit, right? Maybe they needed to hit a specific quota for a quarter. Mm-hmm. That's when you see those sales come on, because that's like a last chance, at making any kind of scratch towards the budget. Towards the first one, games get canceled all the time, right? And I think the biggest ones that come to my mind, Star Wars 1313, I'm still salty and bitter over that, and I will always, every chance I get to bring that out, I will. Sleeping Dogs 2, I know that was in development, that got canceled. One of my favorite games. Portal 3, still ain't seen it. Batman Arkham 5, granted the last Arkham kind of had some technical difficulties. Let's see, Split Second, that was a really good game. This one's gonna hit you, Danny, I think. Echo Unlimited, Getting Up, Under Pressure, Contents Under Pressure 2. That was under development. That got canceled. Time Splitters 4. Bully 2. I mean, and if you think about it, there's Agent and We Are the Mods. There's 3 Rockstar games in this list that I compiled of games that got canceled. Granted, Agent and We Are the Mods were not really super popular, but Bully 2, that first Bully game was amazing. I loved it. Yeah, it was kind of dirty. It was kind of sketchy, but I really enjoyed it. Time Splitters 4, I am hurt over that one. John, you just mentioned one in the chat, Scalebound, right?
That was actually Reed that mentioned that first.
Was it Reed? No.
Oh no. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, she did mention it, but I didn't see it. But yeah, I mean,
Reed.
Well, and Fable is still on the way, right? So it's still supposed to come out this year or next or what have you. So, but yeah, I mean, games get canceled all the time, especially in mid development. And yeah, I'm gonna die on that Star Wars 1313 hill every single time, because I remember sitting in that demo at E3, sitting there with Agent M from Marvel. Shout out to him. Shout out to Ryan. I know you had your own experience where you got kicked out of your demo experience because certain people wanted to see it. But
that game didn't get canceled. The one that I was supposed to see, but I'll mention.
No. But I think yours was Steven Spielberg wanted to see it.
No,
or something like that. No. You're the one you're talking about is Halo. That's a totally different one. But it might have been Paris that was supposed to see it and had Steven Spielberg wanted his own private thing. It might have been Paris. I don't know.
No, that's me and Paris. That's me and Paris. But anyways,
for Steven. Yeah. But yeah, going back to the question, games get canned all the time. Some of them we hear, some of them we don't. But yeah, that's my list of titles.
Yeah.
I don't know, but Dan, if you got any,
yeah. I mean, there was a couple. Actually, Cameo 2 was in production when after the first one, and that got canceled. Of course, Star Wars 1313, that was an amazing game. I know people have been saying Fable is supposed to be Fable Legends. That was supposed to be a free to play game, and that got canceled, and the studio also got shut down. I had like a lot of friends that were working on that game. They were very excited for that, you know. And here's the thing, like, you know, when developers are working on a game, you know, look, they're gonna be in this bubble working on it for multiple years, right? A big group of them. You know, when we went to the Redfall event, they were excited. They were like, the developers, everybody was excited to see us, excited for us to play it for the first time. They're not there like, oh well, this game's gonna suck. Like they're not gonna do that. You know, you get what I'm saying? So, it sucks when developers want to work on a game for 4, 5 years or whatever, and it gets canned. It hurts because you spend so many hours working on a game. And sometimes even during the holidays, you're there for a certain amount of time working there away from your family. You're trying to get the bills, man. You're trying to get money to pay bills at the end of the day, man. You know, look, a lot of developers don't go out there saying, let's create the worst game ever and let's sell it. They're not going to do that, man. They're going to work as hard as they can to create some great games. You know, The Division, Pete. Remember we were excited to check out The Division when it first got announced. Mm-hmm. We got to play the game. Absolutely. You know, I went to the studio a couple years back and I met a lot of people that are not even out there, so like on social media. They just go there to work and that's it. They were very excited to see me there. They were asking me questions. Hey man, what you think of the game? Like, think of The Division. We're working on it. Like, they were telling me the good and the bad. Like, that happens with every single studio around the world, man. Every single studio. Doesn't matter if it's indie or not, man. You know, this is why a lot of developers are afraid to do interviews. And this is something that this has been happening with us for a very long time, that we've been trying to get people to come to the show to talk about the games. And sometimes they're so shy, so scared to say anything on the mic because they don't want to say the wrong thing, and then it goes viral and it will hurt the game and all that stuff. That's why they have certain people that's their job, to do interviews, to highlight the game, to get the crowd and the media excited. You get what I'm saying? So this is one thing that I've seen, Pete, from a lot of the indie developers. Before we wrap it up, indie developers will show their games to other developers because they are afraid to show this to the gamer, because they feel like, man, this game I've been working on for so long, I'm proud of this project, I don't want to get shut down, and that's going to discourage a lot of people, man. You know, and another thing I will say to wrap this up is, it is sad that this whole thing happened with Redfall, because at the end of the day, when a company wants to try something new, and sometimes it'll work out, sometimes it doesn't, you know, it's not going to work out. That's going to hurt the industry overall. And the reason I'm saying this is because now companies were like, no, you know what? Let's work on the next thing that we know is going to sell, instead of let's take a risk and try a new IP. You get what I'm saying? Isn't
that what happened with Pentiment? That was an experiment.
Yeah. And look,
from developers that were like, look, we think this has a chance. He actually got shut down 2 or 3 times. For trying to develop it. And he was like, look, if I have to leave and do this on my own, this is what I'm going to do. And I mean, the response in general, if you look at that title, this is what happens when you actually give creative control to the developer or to the creative directors versus, you know, being, and I know this as the business mind on this, right, is, you know, taking it out of the hands of the stakeholders because they're only looking at it from a numbers perspective. Right? Yes, every business is in the business of making money, but sometimes those passion projects end up, you know, fanning the flames of success without knowing, you know, without being expected. You know, a lot of these developers, they're doing this, you know, because of their love of, you know, being a developer and seeing what they can achieve and what they can do. So sometimes you got to take a chance. sometimes that's all a developer or writer or an artist or musician, etc., wants, is just the chance to see if it hits.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And if it doesn't become a loss. It becomes a learning experience. You take that experience of what worked, what didn't work, and you use that on the next project, whether it's your own next passion project or the next project that you work on for an organization, a third-party company or whatever. Hey, I learned, we tried to do this, something similar didn't work. Here's what I learned, and you make it better. You make your next attempt better. You never stop trying.
Yeah.
You never stop trying.
Hey, look at Sea of Thieves, Pete, and Grounded. Those are games that came out. See if
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. Oh, well, No Man's Sky was a different story. Like it started rough, but look now, like the game has been successful. It's been great. I think it's good to see companies just take that risk, man. Even if it's not that good, like, hey, at least they tried, man. You know what I'm saying? Like at least give them props for that. Like look at Mirror's Edge, the first one. When that came out, I was like, what? That game is amazing. Amazing. Part 2 came out, it wasn't that good. You know what I'm saying? So,
a lot of times that's also trying to follow in on the coattails of a successful title with another attempt. Sometimes you capture what's called lightning in a bottle, right? For that one attempt. Sleeping Dogs, perfect example. We talked about that earlier in games that got canceled mid-cycle for a sequel or whatever. That was a great game. And who knows? Sleeping Dogs 2 could come out and it could be total trash.
Yeah.
Right? You never know what happens, Maybe that's why games get the games as a service treatment, because you can keep iterating on the same thing as opposed to just trying to revisit a whole new experience. And I think the only game that has been truly successful in that eye has maybe been Grand Theft Auto. The only one that's ever gotten consistently better. Right? The first one, nobody remembers. The second one, I distinctly remember because it was all top down, a totally different deviation of, what, we expected when 3 launched, right? 3 launched and everybody was like, what is this?
Yeah, it changed.
And then Vice City hit. Then Vice City hit, and then 4, then 5, and now we're looking at maybe 6 next year. And that's a 10-year, it's been in 10 plus years, and it's consistently top 3, top 5 revenue generating titles every year. So some games or some developers can do it. Rockstar is one of them, but like Rocksteady with Batman Arkham was great. First 1, 2, and maybe 3 is when it started to hit that tailspin down. And then, Assassin's Creed had its great run of similar concept titles where it keeps going, and then you just hit that wall, and that's when you need to just maybe take a break or just maybe hit the pause button.
Yeah, you remember this, Pete? The Steam Machine from Valve? That was a failure. Yeah. That was a huge failure. And guess what? They learned from their mistakes, and they came out with the Steam Deck. And guess what? Well, we have all of us, the Steam Deck. You, me, Paris. We love the Steam Deck. I'm telling you, there's always going to be products and games that's just meh, and then it might be a success, maybe it's some, maybe a huge failure. I mean, who knows? It's good to companies take a risk, man. So just want to say that. And I just want to say, everyone, thank you so much for emailing us, sending us voicemails, and it's good to be back with doing the whole family edition. Hopefully we can do that again. So everybody that's listening, make sure to send us questions, feedback. You agree, disagree, send it in. And also, if you're listening through Spotify and you go to the episode page, there's going to be polls there. You could also send comments in there. And let's interact. Let's continue the discussion what we have here, man. So everyone, thank you so much for listening to episode 1263. This is yours, Danny, and also Pete. Until next time, we're out. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.